Keller Williams has decided to drastically reduce profit share for all the agents who have left Keller Williams and have gone to other brokerages over the years. This is effective retroactively and will be changing effective July 2024. I was with Keller Williams from 2012 to 2017, and I love my time there. So this video is not going to be about why Keller Williams is bad or why Gary Keller is bad. It's just going to give you really two different perspectives of why this is a big deal and who it affects and who it helps. I really feel in this scenario for the people who have left Keller Williams to go to a different brokerage, but are really banking on their profit share earnings to help them in retirement. While profit share for most never really amounted much, it has for some contributed to maybe a couple $100 a month, a few $1,000s a month, and a few $1,000s a month can go a long way in retirement for a lot of people. For me, I never got paid more than $10,000 a year in profit share, so it was never a significant part of my income, and I'm personally okay with that going away because what I receive now through eXp Realty's revenue share model, it has drastically changed my life, and I just don't need the profit share anymore. But I have heard from a couple different agents now that their parents who are in their 70s were planning to use that in retirement, a couple $1,000s a month. So to leave your current brokerage, in this case Keller Williams, say 5 years ago, to go to a new brokerage because you see more opportunity or whatever the reason, lower costs, knowing that you have that profit share that's going to help you in the future financially when you need it, when your working years are done, to have that ripped away from you and saying, well, hey, you got 6 months to come back. I don't really think that's fair, but it's business and I get it. And I understand that Keller Williams has to do what's right for Keller Williams in this current environment. I've talked to different franchise owners at Keller Williams over the years. Some of them are friends of mine, and I understand that profits have diminished for a lot of these franchise owners. And I understand that Keller Williams has been losing a lot of agents to companies like eXp Realty for the last 5 years or so. They've really had a hard time retaining their agents. They've had a hard time attracting their agents because new model with agent equity, giving stock to the agents for free, revenue share, lower caps, splits, has really hurt them from a competitive perspective. So I get that they need to do something to help them stay competitive in this market and not continue to lose so many agents because they've really, their growth has really been stale over the last handful of years. But to do it like this, I'm not sure if it's the best thing when it comes to what their core values are. You know, some of the core values that they have listed on their website and that I really stood behind when I was a Keller Williams agent, and I think they're great core values. I've just seen different scenarios, maybe not always living up to those. And I get that too. I heard something recently. I think it was, his name is Vivek. He's running for president right now. And one of the cool things that he was talking about on the short clip that I saw is that a lot of times as Americans, we can be seen as like hypocrites. And what he said, and I thought this was a really unique perspective, is that to be considered a hypocrite, it means you have to have values and morals in the first place. You have to be trying to achieve this certain standard of goodness, of greatness. So I gotta say, at least for Keller Williams, they have these values, they have a belief system, and while some things in here may be a little hypocritical with this new decision, at least they're striving for something. You know, countries like maybe China or Russia specifically, Vivek was talking about, was saying, well, hey, you know, they're communist countries, they really don't have this ideal that they're going for. So you can't really call them hypocrites because they're not really striving values that a lot of us as Americans would be considered good. So they're not hypocrites because they're not doing the right thing. So I got to say, with their current belief system, I'm glad it's in place. However, it would be nice to see companies always uphold them. However, things change. So, you know, one that I think's kind of going against them right now is the win-win or no deal. This definitely is not a win-win for the agents who have left. Integrity, do the right thing. When I think of people who are retiring or on disability that are really relying on this profit share, I mean, if you're in your 70s to think you got to come back to like Keller Williams to keep your profit share, it's like, okay, I guess at least they're giving you the opportunity, but, you know, I'm not loving that. Commitment, all things, are definitely not keeping their commitment. Trust, definitely losing some trust here. But in my old age of 37 years, I've realized that in a corporate environment, these types of things are just going to happen. And unfortunately, you just got to play by the rules of the company and the industry that you're in. And as an individual, always do your best to maintain your core beliefs. So I saw that. I saw some other memes, that were kind of funny, actually. So Mark's safe from going back to KW with the Facebook flag. I'm Mark safe. I'm definitely not going back to Keller Williams to maintain my profit share. I've absolutely changed my life going to eXp Realty. Being one of the top revenue share earners in the company, it's allowed my family and I to have financial freedom and build wealth. So I'm definitely not going back. It's one of the wrestlers I thought was funny, me planning on retiring off of profit share, and then the other wrestler or KW's ALC, basically just giving you a big FU to that. Well, that hurts. But yeah, I mean, I just hate to see all the pettiness between companies bashing back and forth. It's certainly okay to have your opinions, and it's freedom of speech. You can say whatever you want. But when you see, these different Facebook groups where agents are getting in these little petty arguments back and forth, I just think that it doesn't really serve our industry, and it doesn't serve the agents at the brokerages to engage in that kind of activity. So my opinion overall, it's a good business decision for Keller Williams. It's going to help retain their agents, because now if you have some profit share, you're going to think twice going to a competitor. So it's going to help the retention. I don't think they're really going to see many agents come back, because there's a reason why the agents didn't come back. They found something better, and hopefully they're not in a situation where they really, really were banking on that income. Hopefully they've been able to replace it, whether it was through the revenue share at EXP or through the stock at EXP or buying rental properties or index funds. So hopefully they've replaced it and they don't have to go back. I just think it's just not a good feeling to be forced like you have to go back somewhere. So hopefully that's not the scenario. So I don't think they're going to get a lot of people coming back. It's going to help future retention. And yeah, maybe I did see that they can use some of the profit share money to defend lawsuits that might come up against this, which is an interesting thing. So, initially I'm like, well, hey, the people that are there are going to get more profit share now. I'm not quite sure how that's going to work. If they can use the money to defend lawsuits, that's interesting. And they're not losing. If you're vested and you're at a competitor, you're not losing everything. They're reducing it to 5%, which you might as well be reducing it to nothing, because for most people, profit share was just never much, because expenses are just way too high on these market centers. They're not very profitable for the most part. Of course, some are. Yeah, very interesting. It's fun to see what's happening around the real estate world, and I wish Keller Williams all the best. And got a lot of friends over there still. I still think it's a great company, and yeah. So I would say definitely not in alignment with their belief system overall, and I think that's okay that they're falling a little short. I think most companies will, and most companies have, and most companies and countries and people do. You're always just striving to do your best. We're all human, right? It's all love. I know that Keller Williams has done a lot more good than bad for agents, and they're continuing to help agents and help them win. So if you're at Keller Williams, I wouldn't be freaking out. If you're considering Keller Williams, would love to have the opportunity to also share with you what it would look like to work at EXP, partner with me at EXP, and get all the benefits that EXP has, side-by-side comparison. I was with Keller Williams for about 4 years. I've been with EXP now almost 7 years. And it's always just good to kind of know your options. If you're at Keller Williams and are not loving this change, would love to have a chance to talk to you about that too, because this is the thing too. If you're thinking, well, hey, I'm going to really try to build some residual income through profit share at KW, revenue share at EXP. If that's kind of like the mindset, like you like that idea of residual income and you're at KW, well, now you got to be thinking, I got to be here. In my case, if I was still selling real estate, which thankfully EXP, I retired from selling real estate 5 years ago, I'd be thinking I got to be here another 30 years or 20 years or even 10 years to build up the profit share so that I can retire, versus before you can say, hey, this is a cool benefit that I get while I'm at Keller Williams. But then when I decide to switch, because we know the average agent is going to spend time at a few different brokerages over their career. So when I do switch, I get to retain that income for the time and potentially money that you invested in building Keller Williams. That's why you're getting profit share, right? Because you helped grow the company, you helped agents join Keller Williams, and now by leaving, you're losing all of that. So take the feelings out of it, stay out of those petty arguments, and onward and upward. I wish much success to all agents at all companies, and I wish that every agent actively selling today has a plan for financial freedom. Unfortunately, for some, this was their plan and it's being taken away. And for everyone else that are at KW, now you got to stay, you're stuck. But if you don't have a financial freedom plan, be thinking about what is it? Are you going to build income through revenue share at EXP? That's what I did. That's what allowed me to create my wealth, my financial freedom, and now I invest that money. Number 2, you can buy rental properties. Number 3, you can invest in index funds, stocks. You just got to be thinking, what is my financial freedom number and when do I want to achieve it by?